Well, our next question is for you, Mayor Bartlett, and while the words are ours, we kind of cobbled together several questions here that all were the same theme, one of the most really frequently submitted in the days leading up to tonight's forum. As one put it, if any of the candidates would prove to me that they could put water in the Arkansas River in 4 years, they'd have my vote. In concrete terms, why should we believe any of you won't just let this issue float on down the river for another 3 or 4 years?
Because it's a smart thing to do. The Arkansas River is the jewel of our city. It is the one opportunity we have to help differentiate ourselves from so many other cities, but also to follow the lead of other cities that have used their rivers. We see what Oklahoma City has done when they created a river. It's actually a lake, small lake. But now we have a full-blown river that runs 11 miles through our community. In a collaborative way, I know darn good and well that we can put water in the river. We've seen already with a few of the establishments that are in the river what a great place it is. But we've seen what the Creek Nation has decided to do. They've taken the lead now by committing to invest $200 million for their Margaritaville enterprise, 20-plus story hotels going in. It's going to be a big, big deal. Now they're expecting us and the rest of our community to join in some fashion. It's going to require the public and private communities to be involved. We have the gathering place on Riverside Drive that the George Kaiser Family Foundations and other foundations have committed well over $150 million to do. What great opportunities we have now as a city, as a community. Great opportunities. Now we as a city, what are we doing? Well, we're getting involved with that as well. We're taking steps to make certain that we have the capability of providing some of the capital expenditure necessary to improve the infrastructure that goes to and through and by the gathering place. And we will have a process to do that. That's why we're planning for that, and we're very involved with that. But we have to do it in a collaborative way that's done in a coordinated fashion where it doesn't exist all out by itself and it doesn't work. We have one shot at it, and it has to be done very well. And that's what we will do with good leadership, good continuous leadership in the next decade. Thank you.
I have to admit to the first moderator mistake of the evening. We did not get all the way through all three of our panelists on the last question. And Mr. Christensen, if you'd like to talk about, the last topic was, of course, Mayor Taylor leaving after her first term. Wasn't that the responsible thing to do, given the city's situation at the time?
Was it her responsibility? What was the question?
Don't you believe that was the responsible thing for her to do, to, instead of campaigning for re-election, focus on the fiscal crisis in the city?
I think she could have run for re-election myself. I think there's a lot of good people at City Hall to do that. But I will say one thing to you. You know, Mayor Bartlett talks about this fiscal crisis that he took over when he got elected. You know, if there was a fiscal crisis, why did he pay his chief of staff $165,000? Do you know what I mean? I mean, it just doesn't, you know, I'm a small businessman, and when the going gets tough, the tough get going, and they make decisions. And that just floors me that we're in a real crisis. But he had lots of six-figure salaries in the mayor's office that he brought with him. So I take great exception, because I was on the council at that time. Personally, I don't think we had a crisis. We had a spending issue at that time. So yeah, you go in, just like Mayor Taylor probably did when she was mayor for 4 years, and you cut expenses. You know, you cut back where you have to cut back. It's not that big a deal, I have to tell you. But to sit here and say we had a fiscal crisis and then pay those big salaries when you come on board is, in my opinion, just not appropriate.
Okay, moving on to the last question. Is it appropriate then to fill the Arkansas with water? I know it'd be a lot prettier. Should it be a priority? And the viewer is asking, what would you do to make it happen?
I think the first thing that needs to happen is we need to fix the low water dam. You know, the low water dam is broken right now, and there's a lot of silt and sand back up behind the low water dam to the north. So we need to take care of the silt and sand. We need to fix the low water dam. With many entities probably participating in that expense. But you know, let me tell you, when Jim Inhofe was mayor, Jim Inhofe built the low water dam, and he did it without a tax increase. And he did it by selling some land on the west side of the river, which is now Westport Apartments. And so I think we should look at doing that, possibly the same thing, in that we have this great piece of land at 23rd and Jackson. You know, when Mayor Taylor, you know, talked us into buying the OTC building, one of the concepts there was that we were going to consolidate all the activities of the city into one building to make it more efficient, which I thought was a good idea. Well, 23rd and Jackson got left out, and I don't know if there was a good reason or a bad reason, but it got left out. But now, I think if we could take it public, let the public talk about it, get their input, but think about selling that 23rd and Jackson land, because that would be the first step in river development on the west side of the river, which people have talked about for a long time. So sell that and use that land, use that money as seed money to then work with the other interested parties, whether it be the county, the feds, the state, the tribes, the city of Jinx. But it's got to be a joint effort. We can't put water in the river on the backs of the citizens of Tulsa. We just can't do it. We have needs for our money that aren't met yet. But I'm all in favor of water in the river, and I think the first step is to make sure that water goes back behind the low water dam, that it's deep enough for people to recreate in, and then the citizens of Tulsa will see the benefits of it, and then we can try to work with the citizens of Tulsa to get them on board to spend a little bit of money, along with other people, to put water in the river further down the river, the 2 additional low water dams. Mayor
Taylor, will it be a priority in your administration?
Absolutely. I think we have talked about it for too many decades, but it is a complex task. And as I've talked to people in the community that are involved, it seems like everyone's responsible and no one's responsible. And so I think what needs to happen is we need to put together a real project management team with all the stakeholders at the table. We've got the Corps of Engineers, the cities that touch the river, the tribes, and of course the citizens of those cities. And with transparency and accountability, do a plan. 1, 2, 3, 4, each year, what needs to be done, what it would cost, and get that information out to the concerned citizens, and then let them make a decision as to what the priorities are. And definitely look at creative ways to be able to finance water in the river. But I think once and for all, Tulsa needs to tackle it in a way that really gets us to the end of the road as opposed to talking about it.